Okay, we're in the shop here and we can take a look at what caused all the problems. This is the lower unit, and of course you can see the water pump housing there. Or perhaps you can, I don't know, the lighting isn't that great. But at the bottom of this long shaft uh, is where the water pump lives in this lower end. Of course, this whole unit has to come off of the outboard. Now, it's held in place by some long studs that pass through here, and you can see where they come out on the bottom. It's a well. Now, the someone in the past put this together and found out, obviously not using the right hardware, but if you put a nut on there, as you tighten it in, it goes in the well, and now there's no way to reach it with a socket or a wrench or anything. So obviously it wasn't the right fastener. But he thought, well, all right, I can stack some of these split ring washers in there. Now, these are super hardened steel, and they do just fit in the beginning of that pocket. You can actually get one in there. There it is. And yeah, so he figured, well, we can stack half a dozen of those. There were about 6 of them in there. What he didn't realize is that pocket tapers down and gets smaller diameter the deeper it goes. So he stacked 6 lock washers on there and then put that nut on so he could tighten it from the outside, and he had no problem tightening it up. But as the lock washers got drawn into that cavity, they the the diameter got smaller and smaller down there, so it actually squeezed the lock washers in, similar to a collet that holds the bits on a Dremel tool. As you tighten it, it squeezes on the on that threaded stud that goes through there. So actually, it really held on there unbelievably, and locked it together. Of course, there was actually no way to get it apart other than, well, we won't talk about that. But let me show you on the upper unit what damage that did removing it. Okay, here we're going to take a look at the damage that was done when that lower end came off and took the studs with it, and the studs took metal out of that. You can see it's a mess in there. We've had a local guy build up some aluminum material. I've drilled it and put helicoil inserts in there. I don't know if you can see this or not, but we put some long helicoil inserts in there, and then made some stainless steel, cut some stainless steel rod to make some studs. And you can see one of them's a little longer than the other because it's going to have to reach up in there. The one of the helicoils is up deeper than the other one, and you can see all the oh, there was some hammering going on to get that out, as you can imagine. So we've had to clean up that surface as best we can. We're going to make up the difference with some JB Weld and some black RTV. Hopefully we'll get a little more use out of this motor. Maybe its fishing days are not quite over yet. We've got these holes cleaned up now and degreased, and we're ready to put some JB Weld in there. Okay, we've got the JB Weld mixed up, and it's been well mixed and sitting on the bench for about 20 minutes now, and that's to let it thicken up just a little bit so that it doesn't run out of there or shift around. We want it to stay where we put it. So I'm going to use the end of a zip tie here and load up these holes, and of course the studs are never coming out of there again, but we're basically trying to get some more use out of this motor, which any sane person I think would junk it, but or get a whole new lower end for it here. We're going to see what we can do, because you just never know. Alright, I'll insert some JB Weld in here, and I'll have to put the camera down to do that. We'll get some more shots afterwards. Alright, we've got those holes loaded up with some JB Weld epoxy, and the end of the rod has some here too. All these parts have been degreased thoroughly, cleaned up nicely, and we're going to put that up in there, thread it in, And I know some of you may be wondering why we're putting the JB weld in when there are helicoils already. Well, in spite of our best efforts, there's a little slop back and forth, and we just want these to stay put and give full support to that between the helicoil and the threaded rod here. So we're going all the way in with this. There, it bottomed out. I'm going to back out just a little bit so it's not bottomed. And you can see that there's a little bit of jiggle there. Once we put it together with the next piece in the stack here, that's going to align it properly, and that'll all set up with the proper alignment, nice and vertical. Now I'll put the other one together here. Okay, don't know if you can see it, but there's the JB weld up in there, and you can see the relative motion I had here. These studs move a little bit in and out, and I just wanted to take up that slack. Now what we're going to do is take this intermediate piece here, the spacer, put it up on there, and that's going to hold those studs in alignment while the epoxy sets. Hold them nice and perpendicular, and we'll give that overnight. This is the slow drying JB weld, not the quick stuff. This is the overnight drying, and I've had pretty good results with it. Fixed one of my friend's motorcycle crankcase on a Yamaha 650 V-Star that he had put a rock through the crankcase of a brand new bike, and of course he was heartbroken when he found out it wasn't covered by warranty, but I was able to fix it with some JB weld, and last I heard that's been running around for about 10 years now, holding the oil in that crankcase and not a drop. I was able to paint over it after filing it smooth, and you can't even tell it's there, and he's been riding on it for 10 years. So hopefully this will be another success story for JB Weld. Remains to be seen. Alright, now we've got the intermediate unit there started on those studs, and we're just going to push that up into place. Alright, and bolt that in, and I put some silicone juice up on those surfaces in case there's a stray half a drop of epoxy that comes down. I don't want it to glue that in, so the silicone should prevent any sticking there. Although the stuff was set up pretty good, didn't look like it was going to move at all. So I'm going to bolt this up with some fender washers there to hold the alignment. We'll let it cure overnight. Hopefully a good lasting repair. We shall see. Alright, there's the nuts on there holding that unit in place. We're going to leave it alone overnight. And this is what's left of the JB weld. Good idea to hang on to this so you can check how it's curing. Make sure you had a good batch. By the way, for those that were wondering, it's a Mercury 200 horse V6 two-stroke, older one from in the 90s. Seen better days, but hopefully we'll get a little more use out of it. Well, after all that work, we're finally back to where we should have been about 5 minutes after we got out the wrenches to do this water pump replacement. It should have just dropped off and looked like this in the first 5 minutes. We're ready to do the water pump replacement. Hopefully it'll be smooth sailing and this will go back together, and we'll see how it goes. Everybody out there, keep your fingers crossed for us. And my buddy Chris here, owner of this Grady White, I believe it's a 21 foot or 22. Hopefully he'll get a little more use out of that old motor and take us fishing once or twice this season. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and have a good day, everyone. Bye.